Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week of More Than a Statistic. My name is Justin Griffin. I'm your host. I have 11 years clean, coming up on 12 in August. Um, the show's starting to look a little bit different. I think we're starting to grow. Um, Future plans are being made. It's really turning into something that's went from a call I needed to do to it's becoming something that's real and tangible in life, and
Yeah.
it's outgrowing what I ever imagined. And we're thankful for that. And while going through some analytics, I was telling Tab here a minute ago, I was quite surprised because I figured out that it told me that 80% of people that watch this show are females. And they were from 35, age range 35 and up. And I kind of thought about that. I'm just a boy. I've mostly had boys, and it was a little bit weird to me. But, we've been going over the resurrection story, and it talks about how all the disciples left him, and the only people that really stayed around was the women. And I kind of thought and stewed on that for a little bit, that I'm not surprised by that analytic. Like, why it did catch me off guard, I wasn't surprised by it. And so what I've done is I prayed. I started praying, and I'd ask Miss Tab here a couple of times. She's been on the show, and I've always told her, I feel like God's got a place for you on this thing. And I asked her to start praying. Does she think that she would want to come on full time? Um, so, a little backstory for those that don't know her. I've known her most of my life. She has two sisters. I have two sisters, and all of them we match one or the other's age. So,
Age,
me
exactly.
and Whitney, Tab and Kristen, Becky and Wendy. Like, we just always grew up, always knew each other. And some people leave your life and never come back. Well, like, we've always been on the outskirts of each other's
Yeah.
lives, and God's brought us
Never
back
completely
again.
gone away from each other.
I don't think so, but I asked her to pray about it, and she come back to me a couple of days later, and she said, she said, I think he told me yeah, and she come off with some ideas, and I was really excited about ideas because that's hard to do, uh, and I'm really glad to have her on. So, just for the people that don't know her, I'm gonna have her just do a quick little run through of her story. But if you would like to, it's further down on the Facebook. But if you go to YouTube, we also have the channel, and she has a show of where she come on and she told her story, and her sister actually came on and told her perspective of the same story. So if that's something that y'all be interested in watching, it'd probably be easiest to find it on YouTube, and all you still have to do is search for More Than a Statistic podcast, and that'll come up. It's just a little easier to navigate because it's only the episodes
I
on
think
there.
it was around Halloween, wasn't it? October
Yeah, sometime
31st?
around there.
Pretty sure.
But I'm gonna turn it over to you real quick. I'll let you tell them as much or as little as you want, and then we'll just jump
Alrighty.
into this week.
I'm Tabitha. I'm coming up on 4 years clean in May,
Awesome.
so I'm excited about that. Um, a little bit of my story was whenever I started meddling around in drugs at 16, and like Justin said, I got two more sisters, and I'm the middle. But I was always the one. I guess you could say the
Rambunctious.
yeah, for better words. But my dad was a preacher mostly my whole life, and I was raised in church. I knew better. But the saying, if you hang around a barber shop long enough, you'll eventually get a haircut.
Yep.
So we lived in a small town, and I got to meddling around in pills at 16. Then I guess I was about 20 or something like that when I broke my ankle and the doctor writing them right and left. So the next thing you know, I'm addicted to them. But I never bought them off the streets or nothing like that until my dad committed suicide in 2016. And I always worried about what people thought of me, mostly him, because, he was a preacher, respected everything else, and I didn't want that bad name on him. But whenever he passed away, I thought to deal with it, you know, I got harder in him, and he was the one I worried about so much, and he wasn't there no more. So I just went as hard as I could with it. I was buying them off the streets. I mean, there's neighborhoods that I went in that I should have never come out alive.
Been there.
But God had a purpose for me, and at the time I didn't see it. So I got clean myself and was clean for 10 years. And then I got a job, was doing good at that job. And then some people that I know kept telling me, if you'll take this drug, you can work the 16, 17 hours a day that you're working and still be able to go home to your family. And I tried it once, and well, there I was again, hooked. So my family never left my side. They was there praying for me the whole time, and thank God for that, because that is part of the reason that I'm here today being able to talk to you, is because I had a praying family. They never gave up on me, and I'm thankful for that. And like I said, I in May the 5th, I'll be clean 4 years. And
Amen.
I never thought that I would be sitting here to tell you this stuff, because when my sister found me that night, that I pretty much went crazy. All I could scream to her was, there's no hope for me. I'm too far gone. And she said to me, and I'll never forget it as long as I live, then you don't know my God. But I was like, yes, I do know your God. And I know what he's capable of. But it's hard to explain. But I had got tired of the life that I was living. But when you're so far in it, it becomes, I don't know how to navigate life without it.
Yep.
So it's fear of the unknown, I say, because you know what life you're used to, and you don't know what you're fixing to go into, because you've been, active drug addiction for so long that you don't know what life is like without it. So
Yeah.
it's the unknown. And so thank God for them and Journey Pure in Murfreesboro, the rehab that I went to, and the Lord that I'm here talking to you today.
Sure, I'm glad you are. Mine and her story, I listened to hers, and she was one of the first ones to where I'm great with pattern recognition. My brain just automatically picks up, and it's crazy, just similarities. And you lived a completely different life, but there's so many things that we did that was exactly the same while we was in that active addiction.
Yeah.
And it is. I tried to convey that conversation last week about how when we are in that place, it's hard to talk about Jesus because we know we're so wrong.
Yeah.
That it makes us run.
I felt guilty the whole time.
You do.
And I think it's because I know him. And that's why I felt guilty the whole time that I was doing it. I knew it wasn't right. But like I said, at that time I didn't know how to get out of it.
Right. Or you thought that there was a chance of getting out. That's
Yeah.
how I was. I didn't know how, where, why, what it's going to look like, so I did. I chased it. Fortunately for me, we got found out, or
Yeah.
otherwise we'd probably never,
Yeah.
Us getting caught is what it took. And I'm thankful for that. And so this week we're talking about the message is speaking perspective into pain. And that was said by my preacher this last Sunday. He was talking about doubt. And man, I walked up to him afterwards and I said, preacher, I said, that one was for me. Because he said literally everything I've been dealing with, that especially with this, I find myself apologizing all the time for not doing something and doubting. And I realize that that's all it is. It's the enemy in my ear just saying, you can't do this. You can't do this.
Yeah.
And through that message, I found the will again I'm not going to be so apologetic anymore, that there is a difference between being called to do something and being chosen to do something. And now I'm taking on that role of I was chosen to do this, so I'm not going to be apologetic for it anymore.
Exactly.
Regardless of if I get it wrong, I'll probably apologize. But beyond that, there's not going to be many more apologizing. And I'm really going to try to pick up my confidence in this thing, because that's another thing I've been lacking, is confidence in myself to do this, even though I know I can. Nobody's bigger critic of me than me.
Yourself.
Even though I know in my head that anything I put my head to, I can achieve it.
Yeah.
Like it's the craziest cycle that I fight.
I mean, and I've been that same way. I always tell people, You can do anything you put your mind to. But the way I see that is knowing the life that I used to live and God giving me this now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talked to Beck about it a while ago, and I said, did you ever think that I would be where I'm at in my life and being able to tell my story to so many different people? I never thought I would be here to do it. Never.
Yep. And I think that's what's most special about recovery is the people that come out of it is our willingness to share about it.
Yeah.
And that's what this topic is about. That's how I translated that part of the message when it come out of his mouth is it is us not hiding our traumas or our problems or our struggles under a bushel
Yep.
and trying to not let anybody else know, but it's being bold enough for us to come out transparently and openly share this with people.
Yep.
And I was telling her before, we always look for Jesus to do these great big miracles. In the meantime, he's always in the little bitty mundane in-betweens, weaving everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that with recovery and us doing that, that is what changes the drug addiction. It's going to take the ones that made it out standing up, sharing about it. And that's not just drug addiction. That could be pornography addiction, alcoholism, adultery, whatever. There's so many crutches that we have as mankind. And if we learn just where to steer those, and if we can ever achieve that mentality of, I can do this.
Yep.
And it does this restorative thing to us to where I'm not ashamed. Like, I'm not proud of what I did. I know you're not either.
No.
But nor am I ashamed to a point of I'm not going to tell somebody about it if they need to hear it.
Because that's what might help somebody.
It does. And I've realized that, I got the attack message, but there's been so many more messages of saying, this is doing exactly what it needs to do, and you're really helping me, and that's why I'm here.
And we're reaching people that we probably will never know that we have.
Exactly.
But that's all right because the Lord knows.
Amen.
So, and that's what I was telling him. I have a sign at my house that says, the Lord turned my mess into a message. And when I was in rehab, I remember sitting on the side of the bed, and I prayed and asked the Lord, if it's your will to let me tell my story. But if it's not, I'm okay with that. And I mean, it was just, lately it seems like it's opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And I can't thank him enough for that. That's why when you reach out to me, I already knew the answer, because I had prayed that in rehab.
And I wanted it for a long time, but I was waiting on God to tell me,
You've got to know that it's right.
A big part of my thing was, unfortunately, the first host did drop just because, life happens.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I heard a sermon talking about your calling might not be someone else's calling. And I struggled with the idea of that. What if I'm supposed to go at this alone?
Yeah.
And I was scared of that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I realized, he doesn't want me alone. And that's what I learned through. When I seen those analytics, I was like, I know the answer.
Yep.
That's
me. I knew the answer. But I still wanted to pray about it and be like, Lord, is this for sure?
Yep.
And I was mowing the yard when I was praying about it. And instead of saying, yeah, this is the thing you need to do, he just puts thought after thought after thought in my head of shows, topics. And so, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, that's how he comes in my life too, just random bits of information.
Yeah. And I was telling him, he said the analytics are 80% women. And you said, what, 35 and older?
35 and older.
But I told him, no offense to men or nothing, but men does not feel the same as a woman, nor as deep as a woman. And women can go into their feelings and explain stuff in a way that, I'm not saying you all don't get it. It's just the depth of it. I don't think
I'm surrounded by women I depend on, so I'd be nothing without the women in my life.
My dad always said, he said, a man can't live without a woman. And I believe he was right.
100% right.
Yeah.
And that's what, I was like, wow, all these women, and they're listening to me, probably trying to, same thing, get an understanding of what it's like to come out of a man's brain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I felt like I was robbing them because of, like you said, it's complete opposites. Where one lacks, the other one completely flourishes.
Yep.
And that's why we're so important to work in unison side by side.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a no-brainer for me. I was like, he already sent me the who. You know, it's just the when now.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he would have picked you to do this by yourself.
it honestly, it scared me to the point of I couldn't communicate it. Like,
Yeah.
I have thoughts. I'm a better writer than I am a talker. I always have been. But I would just get on here and I would get so nervous, and I'm neurotypical or neurodivergent. So I have 100 things that I want to say, and before I start, they're lined out. But as soon as my mouth starts, they just all want to come out at one time, and sometimes I lose track of where I was going with it.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's why I knew that it was important to have you, because that doesn't happen just with your presence being here. I'm not nervous. I'm not scared to do this. And
Yeah.
that's just the power of doing
I know
this
that
stuff.
when you asked me to do it, I never wanted to feel like I was coming in and taking somebody else's place.
Right, and that's not what this is.
But I also never guessed that I told him several times, I'll help you whenever you need help. I'll fill in whenever you need me to fill in. But this is the way I guess the Lord saw fit for it to go. So
At least for now, and you know that
Yeah.
other seat's still always
Still
open.
always
It's
open.
always open.
never
Never
think
will
that
that
I
seat
have
be
taken
gone.
that spot, because that's not it.
Yep. And
We're
that's-
just here to try to tell our story from a man's point of view and a woman's point of view, and maybe reach that one person that needs it, whether it be male or whether it be female. I mean, it's just that one.
Can I ask you, so was there, like in rehab, I remember me hearing the first shares of people that succeeded, and they were talking about all the stuff that I was going through in that moment, and then I looked up and seen life. And that's the theme of this show, is, that through the mess, through everything I did, I start to feel like Job a lot. I think that, God's like, yeah, you can have him, but you're only allowed to take him this far.
Yeah.
And it was for the reason after all that, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was to prepare me to a place. He knew my heart. And,
Yep.
and unfortunately our community was ravished. That's why I moved away,
Yeah.
was because I knew the outcome for me if I stayed there.
Yeah, that's me.
So my heart's always been my oldest brother, I mean, he's still probably in jail right now. His whole life, he's just cycled,
In and out.
and it's through alcoholism. And I remember at 6 years old, him being on some kind of pills, and he thought that I was the toilet in the bathroom, and that's burnt into my brain. So from an
Yeah.
early age, we've been affected
Oh yeah.
by this stuff. Nonetheless, not having a nuclear family, that presented its own
Yeah.
group of problems, to where it led to, somebody asked me the other day, like, where did your drug addiction start? And I said, if I really boil it down, it was for approval of others with my friends group once I turned 18 and thought
That
I
was
knew
me.
everything.
To fit in.
To fit in.
To fit in.
And also I learned that those same chemicals calmed all the things in my head that I just discussed that I struggled with.
Yep. Because I said, the struggle that I go through now mentally, like used to, I was sharp as a tack.
Mm-hmm.
I could have tasks done that fast, but now I find myself hours into one task, and it's like it's got to be perfect, but it never ends up being perfect. I mean, that's like us as human beings.
Yes.
We're not perfect, but it's, if we had have stayed, and I'm not ashamed of where I come from,
Right.
but I have no desire to go back.
Me
I don't.
neither.
There's nothing
There's
there
nothing
that I
there
miss.
for me either.
Mm-mm. It gives me a sick to my stomach feeling when I'm in the vicinity, because it rushes back the bad part of my life. And so I just am thankful that he did take my big messed up life and allow me the opportunity to share that mess with other people, so that maybe I can help the one, whoever that may be.
Yep. And that's what we're here for. It's doing this has changed my life. Like, I was a mess even when I started it, still a little bit, and I think it's been about 8 months that we've been going now. Just the way I'm thinking has changed, like there's things in my personal life that where I've said, you know, if I'm gonna do this, I could tighten up these areas a little better and do better
Yep.
in that. And you know, so this isn't just for y'all. Like this is good for me as a person. You know, I've healed probably more in the last 2 years. You know, I lost my mom and my father-in-law in the same week, and it completely, blah,
Yeah.
almost back to rock bottom without the drugs mentally.
Yep.
But you know, that's where I found my rock again. And since
Yeah.
that point, it's just, it started out as slow, but now it just seems like he's piling it on and on and on, and I'm here for it. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not scared of it no more. I'm
Yep.
not gonna run from it no
Be
more.
like, come at me, bro.
Yeah, you
I'm
know,
ready.
I'm getting the attitude of where it can't touch me, and that's a dangerous
Yeah.
place to be. So I'm trying to stay away from that part too, because, you know, I see it, and like I said, it's through my reactions and me doing better and not, you know, I'm just stopping and I'll pray about it, and I'll talk. If there's someone else that can handle the situation, I will talk with them first, and you
Yeah.
know, just wise things.
Yeah.
And it seems like that everything that has happened, like I've just gotten to dust it off because it didn't even leave a dent.
Yeah.
And that comes through time. You know, it comes through
Oh,
small
yeah.
steps. But
Because a couple of weeks ago, we was dealing with something up at the house, and the old me would have just flat told them what I thought and been done with it. But the new me struggled so bad. Like, how, for one, how can this be happening? How come people are this way? But I had to learn to stop and think that through. And so I had to go to the altar on Sunday at church and just leave it with the Lord, because I didn't want to go to the person that would have, you know, that I was before, that I would have flat just said what I thought and been done with it.
Yeah.
Because I had to stop and think of how that could, I mean, me working for Beck, we represent a business that we tell people about the Lord.
Yeah.
That's what put her there. That's our mission. And I didn't want to let my old me come out and just be like I, because
Yeah.
I've got that I watch out for now, and I just don't want to be known for the person that I was
Right.
before.
And it, you know, it's still in there.
It is.
You know, it never goes away. And
Yeah.
I found myself like I want to get fired up first. I always want to get fired up first.
Yeah.
But if I do talk to someone else about it, and I can kind of leave it at that. You know, I don't realize it until later on, but the power ends with that conversation that
Yeah.
it held. And then I give it the whole night and I pray, like, if this is going to happen, God, just protect me.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
this is coming, because someone asked me, you know, why is people messing with you? And I told him, I said, my family unit is solid, so he uses outsiders to come at me. I said, it's just the way it's going to be, I guess.
Yeah. If you're walking with the Lord, Satan is going to be right there, just right on your
Every
shoulder all the
opportunity.
time. And it's like I always said before, I never noticed him as much before, but I was doing what he wanted. So why would I? I mean, he was leaving me alone. But he's going to find your weakest point, and that's what he's going to go at you
Yeah.
with every time
Every
to
time.
try to knock you down. And I said, am I allowed to use the word hate for Satan? Like, I hate him? Because it's like, I said this to Beck a couple weeks ago. I said, walking with the Lord is so much better. Such a better life.
Not
But
an
at the
easier
same
one.
time,
Not an
it's
easier
hard.
life, yeah.
The hard part of it is because when you try to walk with him, Satan don't want that.
Mm-mm.
So he's right there on your heels working overtime.
Any door.
Yeah. Any door he
he's
can.
trying the
Yes.
knob. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's important, you know, like what I'm learning is, like I said, pattern recognition, that the more I keep my mouth closed, the more I'm winning the battles. Like it might not be every battle, but the percentage sure has
Oh,
went
yeah.
up, you know, and
Yep.
because I got loud. That was my thing, is I called it passion at the time. I was
Yeah.
passionate about this, but realistically, I just like to argue.
Yeah.
And that's because I come from a long line of people that like to argue, and that's a real problem for me to contain every single day.
Yeah.
Like it honestly takes, I have to put forth a conscious effort
Yeah.
in order to not let him out, because I seen a shirt that said I'm saved, not soft, and I
Yep.
which
I
is
love
still
it.
in
I've
there,
seen
but I
that
really
too.
try to let that guy stay put up. you
Yeah.
know?
I say I was born on the south side of the kingdom
In the
sometimes.
ghetto. Oh,
But I mean, that's what he does. And you just got to learn, though, when he is there trying to attack you, just give it to the Lord, and he'll
he's
he'll
going
help
to.
you through that.
He's going to. And the big thing is, if you can just read your Bible 15 minutes a day for 4 days a week, it's guaranteed to change how your life starts.
Oh
to go.
yeah.
15 minutes a day, 4 times a week. Start at that. And
I've
that's
always told Beck, used to when I was out of church, I would say, I don't have to go to church to know the Lord.
me too.
But there's something about that relationship with your church members that you need.
You know, I shared one week, I don't remember when it was, but someone said it out loud too. They said that, it's easy that when you're alone and God gets quiet that you think he's not there, but if we surround ourselves with people that are following him, you can see what they're doing in their life.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's important.
Yeah,
it
is.
keeps, because it's all about us maintaining us. Like, yeah,
Yep.
we tend to go outwards and we give more than we take,
Yeah.
but it's still, the mission it's all in here still,
Yep.
and it's a daily mission for me.
Oh yeah, it is. There's sayings that they say about we're paying rent every day, to keep our sobriety, to keep from going back to that life. And used to, when I would get mad, frustrated, that'd be the first thing I did, because that's what took that away. But now, going through things, facing stuff sober is difficult.
It's a different animal.
It's a whole different
It's a
thing.
different
It's
animal.
very difficult. But I mean, that's what we got to do. And turn, like you said, talk to people about it.
Yeah.
Talk to the ones that I like to be able to know that I can go to somebody and ask them to pray for me for something, and they're not going to ask me why.
Yeah.
What's going on? There's just, you got there's certain people that you can go to and ask, and they're going to without any question asked.
Not just typing it out on a keyboard.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I'm thankful for every one of those I got. And
Oh, yeah.
They're the reason why I'm sitting
Yeah.
here today, is because those prayers went through.
Yep.
You got anything else you want to talk?
I think that's it.
I think it's pretty good for
I'll
the
let
first
the Lord
one
spew
in.
the rest of them out
Yeah.
in future episodes.
So I will announce we do have the shirts in. I'm going to be ordering more, so if I don't have them, I will be getting them in. Still taking the donations. We asked that it's starting out at $30, and I'm doing $30 because it's doubling what I paid for the shirt. And the goal with this is that this account can continue to feed itself through me doing this. This is just one of hopefully many, many more.
Yeah.
And it's going to take people like y'all. And so far, y'all have done outstanding with it. I'm almost out of shirts.
And we
But
appreciate that too.
It's going to something that really matters. Like, I can't explain this enough. If y'all know who I am, I'm crazy about human trafficking. That's one of my passions. I hate it, and I want it eradicated.
Yep.
And I got a really big place in my heart for people that want out of drug addiction.
Oh yeah.
And this place also includes incarceration, where they've been in for a long time. Your money is literally going to give a woman a safe place to land, and she's going to be able to pick up all these healthy habits that we talked about. And it's going to be with people just like the church. These other girls, they're going through the same thing, and they get to heal together in this place. And that's just something that I wanted our brand to be a part of. It is someone that I've met. They own the house, but I'm a supporter in everything that this girl does, because I've worked with her. I've been around her enough. Now I know that her heart is pure, and she's doing this for the love of doing this.
Yes.
So I stand behind her in everything she does. In August, we're doing the overdose awareness, so keep that in mind.
I'm excited to death about that.
Yeah, I am too. We went and we walked it not too long ago, so we're getting placements figured out, and it's getting there. Like she started in February discussing, and she said, this is gonna come fast, and it's already. We're a couple of months away already, and she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
So we thank her for everything that she does, and try to make sure I don't forget anything. Yeah, if you'd like a shirt, just let me know. You can message me on Messenger. If you got my phone number, you can email me, and I'll try to meet y'all somewhere. I will take Cash App. I'm going to try to limit the sources in which I take the money. I'd love cash or check, because I can just straight take that to the bank. But if it is, I'd prefer Cash App on digital payment. And if there's anything that I can do for you guys, reach out. I'm here. We do it for love. We're serious about it. This isn't just for views and likes and clicks. Like,
Yeah.
we're here to help, and we love you guys.
And you can reach out to him, you can reach out to me anytime if you need to talk, if you need advice, anything, just do.
Yep.
And you're going to do it without judgment. There's no
Amen.
judgment in it.
Not here. Not here. We
No.
leave that at the door.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for coming on board and being a part.
Oh yeah.
I'm really
Appreciate
excited. It's kind of scary now. It's about to take off.
I know
God's
it.
putting us together. So, we're going to keep coming back. We love you guys, and we thank you for your support.